you hear that?
Hello, welcome to our Recap Plus channel with me, Matthew. Today we will watch a recap movie called In the Tall Grass, released in 2019. This is a spoiler content video. So please turn on the subtitle and let's start the story. After a 3-day drive, Becky, who is 6 months pregnant, and Cal, along with their 11 siblings, are on their way to give the baby up for adoption. Becky starts feeling ill, prompting them to stop near a field of tall grass. Shortly after, they hear a boy's voice calling for help. Cal pulls the car over to the side of the road, and a woman from the grass field yells at the kid, whom she calls Tobin, to stop making noise and warns that he will hear you. Cal believes Tobin is just a few feet inside the field and goes in to save the boy. Becky attempts to call the police, but the service breaks down. Amidst the confusion, she loses sight of Cal, and they become separated. Cal tries to reach Tobin, but his voice seems to move away, prompting Cal and Becky to decide to meet up by following the sound of her voice. However, when he should be about to meet her, he somehow misses her. At one point, she's to his right and then to his left, even though she doesn't move an inch. Cal begins to suspect that something is amiss. They come up with the idea of jumping to determine each other's position. The first attempt shows that they are only 20 feet apart, but on the second attempt, Becky is shocked to see Cal a significant distance away from her. He runs around frantically calling out to Becky and stumbles upon the dead body of a dehydrated golden retriever. Becky and Cal grow increasingly uneasy as they notice the field somehow shifting their location from one another. 1 minute, they seem close, and the next, leagues away. Evening falls, and the two still haven't found each other. As Becky sits down to rest, she hears grass noises not far from her, and Cal is still calling her name. A man emerges from the grass, introducing himself as Ross. He claims to be Tobin's father and the husband of Natalie, a woman also stuck in the grass field. Despite her reservations, Ross convinces Becky, saying he will help her find her brother. Cal is still running around calling for Becky, but he gets no answer. He breaks down, thinking he'll never find her. Tobin startles him, saying that it's much easier to find things when they are dead because the field doesn't move dead things around. As the boy buries the crow, he tells Cal that he didn't lure him in. He was lured in by a man himself and that Becky will die soon. When Cal asks how he knows about his sister, Tobin explains that the rock teaches people to hear the grass, and the grass knows everything. Tobin decides to show Cal where Becky is. Ross and Becky are talking about the baby, and he's endearing himself to her. However, when she stumbles across some medicine and torn hair, she loses sight of Ross and panics when a woman emerges from the grass and startles her. Tobin leads Cal to a clearing in the middle of the field where there is a large rock with carvings of dancing men. Tobin explains that the rock will help Cal find Becky, just like it helped Tobin find him. As Cal is about to touch the rock, he hears Becky screaming and rushes to her aid. Meanwhile, Travis, Becky's ex-boyfriend, stops at a gas station looking for the two of them. On the way, he notices Cal's car near the church and pulls over. From the looks of it, the car has been abandoned for quite some time. On the road, he finds Becky's book and decides it would be a good idea to look for her in the grass. Travis heads towards the sun, using the grass to mark his path so he can return. However, after he continues walking, the grass regenerates, and he realizes that he is no longer walking towards the sun. It is a maze of grass that is constantly shifting. As night falls, Travis lies down exhausted. He is startled to hear noises, and Tobin lurks nearby. Tobin tells him to be quiet as they hear other people in distress. Tobin explains that there are parallel universes where people get stuck in the same tall grass, but it has nothing to do with them. Travis is confused, but Tobin obviously knows him and is also confused that Travis doesn't remember him. Tobin recites facts about him and mentions that he's looking for Becky. Tobin agrees to show him where she is. They start running through the grass, staying as close as possible. Tobin points out a body, says it's Becky, and takes off. Travis finds a necklace that confirms it's her. The next morning, Travis is roaming the grass when he hears a family talking and calls to them for help. He recognizes a boy's voice as Tobin's. It turns out Natalie and Ross are there too. The dog runs into the grass, and the whole family goes after him. Travis tries to tell them not to come in, but it's too late. The whole day passes quickly, and since Ross separated from Tobin and Natalie, he searches for them to no avail. He mutters a few soothing words to himself and notices the clearing with the mysterious rock. Tobin yells for help from the grass field, and it's Cal and Becky. Cal pulls up the car on the side of the road, just as before. Travis is dehydrated and weak. He hears Cal and Becky looking for Tobin and also trying to find each other. Travis speaks up and tells them both that he is in the grass maze and has been there for days. The whole situation is confusing to them. Tobin yells that his dog died, and Travis figures that they could all meet at Tobin's location because the field does not move dead things. Tobin keeps talking, and it's not long before they all meet up. Travis explains the situation in more detail, that he came here after them, but somehow they arrived just now. It's confusing, he knows, but asks them to trust him. Becky feels like someone is watching them, so the group decides to move and get a better sense of their surroundings. Tobin gets on Travis' shoulders, noticing a building in the distance, and they march towards it. On the way there, Travis and Becky reconcile, and she allows him to touch her belly. Cal is not happy about it, and that's when they receive a call. From the sound of it, it's Becky, but they can only hear bits and pieces, warning them not to make the same mistake, and then the call breaks off. They keep moving, and Becky's suspicion is confirmed. They are being watched from the grass. After some time of walking, Becky begins to feel terrible. She starts bleeding, faints, and has visions of the baby wrapped in grass. Ross appears out of nowhere and performs CPR. When she wakes up, he explains that it's probably a heat stroke. Ross tells them that he can guide them out, but it's not a straight path. They inform him that they are headed for a building, and when Tobin gets on Travis' shoulders, he realizes the building is gone. Ross assures them he has the golden ticket out of there and leads them through the field, singing and appearing completely relaxed, which seems strange to the others. Ross leads them back to the trampled circle of grass with the ominous rock in the middle. When asked about it, he explains that it's been there since before the Ice Age and is essentially the center of the center. Becky snaps and calls him out, stating that he told them he would show them the way out, and he has not. Ross insists that he has, they just have to look. He advises them to touch the stone, and they will know the way out immediately. Cal wants to touch the stone, but Natalie emerges from the grass and tells them to stop. She is scared and insists that Ross should stay away, revealing that she saw Becky dead. Ross tries to make it seem like Natalie is delusional, but Becky has more visions of grass people, and Ross himself appears less human. She asks them to leave and take Natalie with them, but Ross insists they touch the rock, claiming they'll immediately understand. Travis tells him to let them go, to which Ross responds with a menacing attitude. The wind disappears, and he begins to intimidate them to touch the rock. Travis lunges at Ross, attempting to resist, but Ross overpowers him and dislocates his shoulder. He then takes Natalie and tells Tobin that it's only flesh and flesh is grass, crushing her skull. Frightened, the group runs back into the grass. Tobin notices the dog, and they all run after him, coincidentally arriving at the building they were trying to find earlier. They barricade themselves in, and Cal helps Travis with his injured arm. Emotions escalate, and Cal starts blaming Travis for everything, especially since he wanted Becky to have an abortion, leading to the decision to drive away to give the baby up and causing the current chaotic situation. It turns out Cal's feelings for his sister go beyond familial love, and after Travis points it out, he receives a beating. Ross found them, prompting the group to decide to climb to the roof and barricade themselves there. They remember seeing this building from the road, and while the road is only a few yards away, they are uncertain about what will happen if they step into the grass. The dog reaches the road, but when Travis slips, Cal drops him instead of pulling him in. Ross finds another way up, so they attempt to make a run for it. Tobin runs into the grass, and Becky is still concerned about Travis. Cal tells her to forget about him, and she runs away when she realizes he did something. Ross catches up to Cal, seemingly able to read his mind, and confronts him. As tensions rise, Ross catches and overpowers Cal, strangling him, just one of many deaths for Cal in the same place. Travis wakes up and goes into the grass, unable to find each other again. However, he confesses to Becky that he made a mistake and wants to have a family with her. Suddenly, Travis hears screaming, "It's Ross," and he has found her. Becky stabs Ross in the eye with a pair of nail scissors, providing her the chance to run away. A massive rain starts, and Becky notices grass creatures all around her. They carry her to the trampled grass circle with the ominous stone. She calls her past self, advising her not to make the same mistakes and to end the loop. As pressure builds and the carvings on the stone suggest the grass creatures want her to have a premature birth and use the baby as a sacrifice, the ground sinks in, revealing huge roots coming out of the stone and the people as if they are stuck to the ground, crying. Becky wakes up disoriented, with Cal giving her some water. He shows her the baby, just out of the oven and baked just right, and feeds her. When she asks what she's eating, Cal claims it's just grass. However, it turns out it's not grass, and it was not Cal, it was Ross. Sometime later, Travis finally finds his way to the clearing, discovering Becky lying there unconscious. Tobin explains to him that Ross killed the baby, and Cal is dead too. Tobin fears the loop will never stop, with his father killing them repeatedly. Travis calls on Ross to come out and is ambushed. They fight, with Ross picking a sharp bone out of the mud and stabbing Travis. Ross forces Tobin to touch the rock, but Becky regains her senses and pokes out Ross's other eye. Travis starts bashing Ross's head against the rock, but Ross throws him off. Eventually, Travis overpowers Ross and strangles him with grass. Travis notices that Becky has died, and enraged, he touches the stone. The sky turns red, and he begins to feel the grass envelop him. The whole field becomes clear to Travis as he touches the stone. He instructs Tobin to follow him, giving him Becky's necklace, and urges him not to let her in. Travis then pushes Tobin out of the grass field. Tobin finds himself in the church and walks out into the sunny day. He spots Cal's car parked on the side of the road and another Tobin screaming for help from the grassy field. Tobin rushes to them and pleads for everyone to leave. He shows Becky the same necklace she has and informs her that it's from Travis. Becky shows it to Cal, and they both agree to leave. Becky decides to turn around and keep the baby, finally bringing an end to the loop. To watch more video like this, click on the videos on your screen, and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last I will say stay safe and stay healthy. See you next videos.